Hello everybody, welcome back. I'm so glad you could join me. So today's video is going to be sort of some tips and tricks and secrets and suggestions. I know not everybody likes to wear a ton of makeup every day, and sometimes you just want maybe more of a simple, natural look. That's what I'm trying to do with this video today, and maybe help you with some little suggestions that maybe you haven't heard before. So if you're ready, let's jump into it. So this video was really highly requested from some of the viewers that are out there asking. They don't necessarily want to be putting out like a bunch of makeup on every day, and asked if there was just some simple makeup routines or simple makeup tricks, tips, secrets, whatever you want to call it, that I could talk about on my channel. So I thought, yeah, this would actually be, it's some of the stuff now you're going to be familiar with. I've mentioned it, at one time or another. I've mentioned some of these things on my channel, but I'm also very mindful of. I also have new viewers that are watching, new subscribers. So one of the things we're going to start off with is your canvas, basically your skin. So I have relentlessly talked about skincare. That I think it's very important, especially as we're getting older, and the younger you can start in your life, the better. And my personal thought on it is like skincare, really good skincare, a really good skincare routine is essential for beautiful, youthful skin. So one of the first ones that I'm going to go in with is moisturizer. So I've already moisturized, and it is the Neutrogena Hydro Boost with the hyaluronic acid. This stuff is amazing. And as you can see, I've used, I think, most of it up. There's just a little bit left in it. And it does have a tiny bit of a scent to it. And don't quote me, but I thought it has a fragrance-free version. I thought it does, so you'd have to check that out. But I love how it absorbs into your skin. And the hyaluronic acid is just going to plump your skin. It's going to kind of fill in your fine lines. And it's just going to make sure that your skin is really well hydrated, which, again, is another key for making your makeup application look really nice. Is just making sure that you have really hydrated skin. And another thing that I'm going to do is, where possible, I'm going to try and show you maybe like a drugstore version, and then if I do have something that may be like of a higher end product, I'll try and show that as well, because I know that there is people out there that you love drugstore products, but there's sometimes where I've been asked whether I can also show maybe like a higher end product, because there's some of you that do like that quality. So one of the other, again, I always make sure that I have eye cream on. That's, again, going to make your under eye area where it tends to be a bit drier, especially as we age, making sure that it's really well hydrated. So the Olay, this is one of my absolute favorite eye creams. And then if you're looking for a higher end product, this is the It Cosmetics Confidence in Eye Cream. So this was actually sent to me by my friend Jess. And I'm gonna call it my little Jess care package, because that's what she did. She sent a whole bunch of little products to me. So thank you, Jess, for doing that. And so this one is really good. It says it's really good for anti-aging properties, and it brightens, repairs, and transforms. I use the Oil of Olay one pretty much every single day and night. And yeah, it just leaves your skin so nice under the eyes. It's both wonderful products. And then one product that I haven't tried yet, but I'm very curious about, is retinol products. Let me know down below if you guys have tried any retinol products. There's a couple that I have on my radar. One of them is by the company, The Ordinary Company. I know that they have different strengths of retinol to use on your skin. And the other one I want to look at is the Oil of Olay. They have I believe it's like a night cream that you can wear, but it's a retinol night cream. So I do want to try a couple of those products out and see how. Again, I've heard that it's exceptional. You just have to be really careful with it and start out really slow and see how your skin reacts to it. So I really want to try some retinol products. And then next is, again, before I even leave the door, is always putting some sunscreen on. So the only one that I personally can use for myself, because I have very sensitive skin, and whenever I wear a different brand of a sunscreen, I actually start breaking out. Start getting a rash like on my neck, usually, and my face. So the only one that works for me is Aveeno. This one here, it's the sensitive skin. It's a mineral sunscreen, so that can be a little bit of a pain sometimes. But surprisingly, this one, it is very lightweight, and it blends really nicely into the skin. It doesn't leave that white cast on your face, which a lot of mineral sunscreens can do. But yeah, so I always have sunscreen on every single day. And I think also just drinking lots of water throughout the day, that's also going to hydrate your skin. I think trying getting as much hydration into the skin as possible is just a bonus for aging skin. And some of the, again, some of the tricks that I know makeup artists use is for older skin is using like creams and liquids. They prefer those over powders. Again, I've said, I prefer like a highlighter. I do prefer powder highlighters, but I did run out and grab one of the highlighters that was suggested. So I do want to try that. It's supposed to be really good. And by plumping the skin, that is going to help with fine lines and wrinkles. So that's why a lot of makeup artists say to stay away kind of from the really heavy matte foundations. But again, it's not saying that is an absolute no-go. So I'm going to show you a couple of different types. So I'm going to first go in, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do like kind of half my face with a suggestion, and then the other half I'll do with maybe something that you could do. They may say, I did want to make this video like a do and a don't video, because makeup is meant to be fun and play with and that sort of thing. So, but I think having older skin, we have to be a little bit more careful in how we do things. So I'm going to go in with half my face. I'm going to do the L'Oreal. This is the Radiant Serum Foundation, the Age Perfect. I love this foundation. It doesn't give me the exact amount of coverage I want, but the hydrating part of it is absolutely stunning. Like it is, I can't believe they've made a foundation that is so hydrating. So I think what I'll do is I'll put half on this side. I'm just going to squeeze it right onto my skin. And then I'll show you what I'm going to do on the other side. So just let me blend this in real quick. Okay, so what I did was I just blended in the L'Oreal foundation. Sorry, I forgot to tell you what color I have this in. It's in the shade 25 Cream Beige. So I've just put that on this side, but you can see how hydrating it looks, right? And it's not not settling into my fine lines right here. And it just gives you a really nice coverage. It's really light. So if you do like more of a bit more like a medium coverage, you can always mix that one. And I did that one in another video. I just mixed two foundations together and it gave me really the perfect coverage that I wanted. Now, like I was saying, if you do like a matte foundation, a little trick that you can do is mixing that with something else to make it like maybe a little bit more glowy or hydrating. So I wasn't going to go out. I don't have any matte foundations because, again, I don't use those ones. But I received a sample. So this is just Lee Swatche. But inside, it's one of like those little samples that you can get of foundations. So I thought, okay, well, why don't I go in with this one down here? It's a little bit more of a lighter shade. And the actual foundation is called Velvet Matte Foundation. So I just wanted to, because again, I just wasn't going to go out and buy a matte foundation that I'm never going to use again. So I think this color, there's like two different colors. So I think this lighter version here will be more suitable for me. But I like those sample sizes because it really is perfect if you just want to try something and you're not sure how it's going to look. And then all you do is open, like it comes like with a little foil, and then I'm just going to open the back up and take a tiny bit from it. And it's usually just like a one-time use. So it is quite like of a runnier foundation. But what I want to do is mix it with my NARS. This is the NARS Tinted Glow Booster. And this will just help give it a little bit more of a hydrating look. Because I know like people do prefer like more of a matte foundation because those tend to give you more coverage and last throughout the day a little bit more. But yeah, for me, I'm more of a hydrating foundation person anyhow. So then I'm just going to take a little pump of that glow. Probably, let's just do 1.5. And then I'm going to take my sponge. I'm going to mix those two together. Like I said, the color might be a little bit off just because it is a little sample size, but we're going to make it work. So hopefully you can kind of see the difference. So hopefully you can see on the camera, and on my sponge, I used the other side of the sponge to do this side of my face. So this is the matte side that I just did with the booster on it. Although it doesn't look Like this one definitely looks more hydrating. This is that L'Oreal side, and it has as I turn my head, I can definitely see like a little bit of a sheen to it. That's the hydrating. And then this side here, you can kind of see it's starting to settle again because it's that matte formula. It is starting to settle kind of into my fine lines here, and into my lines up here. But overall, it doesn't look like bad. I'm not going to say it looks bad. So, like I said, I'm not going to say don't use matte formulas if if you do have older skin. Just a suggestion would be to just adding some like a booster like that NARS, or you can sometimes even add a little bit of oil. There is some companies that make an oil that you can add to your foundation. Just be careful which ones you choose because you don't want it breaking apart the foundation. So yeah, just try and find like something like that that'll just kind of give you that hydrating look. Next, we're going to go into brows because I think brows is one of the most important things when you are trying to achieve just a complete look. I think a full brow just kind of softens the face up. One of the things that I do is I don't go too heavy-handed into my eyebrows, and I always just try and fill in the sparse areas. And then just one little trick for you that you'll see me a lot of the times I do my brows usually at the very beginning of my makeup tutorials, or I've already done them off camera. Now, one of the tricks for that and one of the tips that I do, why I do that, is by filling in your brows at the beginning of your makeup application. It helps brow products actually adhere better to clean skin. So that's just a little tip for you. So I'm going to show you my favorite. I keep using this in all my videos. It's my favorite eyebrow pencil right now, sorry. Is the Maybelline, there's the packaging for it, the Maybelline Brow Ultra Slim. I have this in the shade medium brown. And then an alternative, if you do prefer more higher end eyebrow pencils, I also have the Benefit, the Precisely My Brow Pencil. Now I don't know if I picked up the correct shade. I picked up a few things from when I was before some of these stores started closing down. So I don't know if this is the right color. I have it in 3.75 warm medium brown. But yeah, I know this is like a cult favorite. So I think what I'll do is on one side I'll use the Benefit and on the other side I'll use the Maybelline. And I usually start at the inner part of my brows and just fill them in. And I take it right down the tail. If there was an imaginary line from the corner of my eye to there, that's where I usually stop my eyebrow. But I'm trying not to make it too dramatic looking, just keeping it really simple because I don't want it to look too harsh. We're trying to keep just a nice, soft, youthful look to it. Look at the difference. It just brings your whole face together. That's why I think really this is one of the most important things that you could do for your makeup application. Is just filling in your eyebrows. So I'm just going to quickly do the other side and I will be right back. And then to keep the brows in place all day long, we're going to go in with the Maybelline Brow Fast Sculpt. And this is just a clear gel and just helps them stay in place. Been really loving this product lately. Yeah, so if I can, a takeaway from doing your eyebrows is having more fuller brows can really take years off your face, I think. Okay, so moving on to my next tip is I think it's really important if you have dark pigmentation under your eyes is color correcting. Now, when I think of color correcting, what you're doing then is you're applying a really thin layer of product under your eyes, but in the long run, you're using less product in the way of like a concealer. So by using color correcting, you're using less concealer under your eye because if too much product is under your eye, that can actually look really aging. And this is basically having less product will go further, if that makes sense. So I'm going to show you a couple of different types that I use. My favorite is my Lise Wachee. This is a portfolio crayon. It's a color correcting crayon, and I have this in the shade Peach. Or a more affordable brand is the Maybelline. I have mine in the Master Camo. There is a bunch of different types you can get with this, but this is the actual color correcting one. Now it is really orange, like a peach orange color. So this one here, like the actual peach tone is really good if you have light colored skin. And the more orangey tone is really good if you have like a more of a medium to dark skin tone. So that's why, but I used to use this one all the time, the Maybelline one. I used to use this all the time until I found my Lise Wachee. So I'm going to apply some of the Lisa Wache one, and then I'll apply some of the Maybelline one on the other side. But again, I'm not using a lot, and I'm just going to blend it in with my ring finger. And this is a step to be done before you put concealer on. But see how it just has taken away just that little bit of darkness. Now this one is, what I do is, because it has like a sponge top applicator, and what I do is I take my finger, again, your ring finger is the best finger to use because it's going to give the least amount of pressure. And I literally like take that much on my hand because it is really pigmented. And I know it's going to look funny right when I first put it on, but we'll make sure we blend it in. And we're going to be covering it with concealer. I didn't really put any foundation. I don't usually put a lot of foundation under my eyes. Again, because that's just adding product to under your eye area. But see, look at the difference between, that's why I said it's really orange looking, so, but it does the trick. Believe me, it'll do the trick. Okay, so the next thing we're going to go in with is concealer to try and cover up this darkness. So I was reading an article that said the NYX Born to Glow concealer is actually being compared to like the NARS, that creamy concealer, which is supposed to be really, really good. So I went and picked it up. I haven't even opened it yet, so I'm super excited to try it out. I don't know if the shade is going to be the right shade because all the testers have been put away now, which is good. I'm glad that they did that because you shouldn't be using testers and stuff like that right now. So I'm hoping this might be the right shade. If not, I'll just exchange it. But this is in the shade Natural. Oh, interesting. Okay. I didn't know it was going to be like that. It has like a little sponge tip. So I'm wondering if it's like the Maybelline where you squeeze it. Oh, okay. So I'm just squeezing it and it's coming up the top there. Now, a little trick when it comes to concealer is what you can do is apply it to the back of your hand to warm the product up. Okay, so this might not be a bad shade. We'll see. It's a little bit, has a little bit of darkness to it. I do sometimes like a more of a brighter under eye, so we'll see how this one turns out. So I'm first going to put the NYX on the orange side here. Yeah, and by placing it on the back of your hand, you can just kind of warm it up and it'll apply way better under your skin. So I'm just going to use my hand, my finger. Okay, so oh, that's actually a nice color. I thought it was going to be more darker, but yeah, no, that's good. I probably put a little bit too much. So what you're trying to do is just putting it in the hollows of your eyes and where your darkest discoloration is. And the reason for that is like you'll never see me doing concealer like the big triangle like you see the younger YouTubers doing. I just don't think that that's good for older skin. I think it draws your eyes down. It makes your whole area look drier. I'm just going to try blending it in a little bit with my sponge. And what you're doing is, like I said, when you were doing that in the hollows of your eyes and the discoloration, you're just kind of, you're balancing out your skin and it's creating like an illusion of smoothness. And that's why I always just concentrate. You'll always see me just putting concealer right in the corner there where I'm darkest. Wow, that is really nice. I like that. That is a very hydrating concealer. Now for a higher end concealer, I have my Too Faced Born This Way. And I have this in the shade Nude. Again, this is going to be more, and it just comes in a nice little bottle like that. I love this one. But this one you can also use it to contour. I've never used it for that. I'd have to get a different shade if I want to do contouring and stuff. But again, I've put it, so there's the two different shades. So the Too Faced is up here. Warm it up on the back of my hand and I'll apply it to the other side. But this concealer is really nice too. It's very hydrating and it lasts a long time. It doesn't start wearing off like halfway through the day. And then just another little trick. If you guys notice that you start getting, like I have quite a few lines and wrinkles right under my eye area, what I'll take is a concealer. This is just an e.l.f. Concealer brush. And I'll very lightly, sometimes I'll use my finger, but sometimes I'll just take a brush and very lightly smooth out all of that area underneath and take out all, and that'll just spread that excess concealer and take it away. And then a simple little thing that I've mentioned on my channel is just less is more. I truly believe that. So when I'm doing or sort of any like powder I try and use just a tiny little bit. So today I'm going to go in with the Maybelline Fit Me. And I think using a loose powder is usually better than like the pressed powders. Again, I've used pressed powders before, and I have a few of them that I really like, but I generally stick to more of a loose powder. The loose powders are just more designed to just smooth over your skin and your fine lines. So I just take a little bit and just all I want to do basically is take away any of those real shiny spots that I have. So usually on my nose. I also want to set my concealer. And sometimes I'll use just my little sponge, and I'll put a little bit of powder underneath there and do it that way. Or I'll use a brush and a very light hand again. You'll very rarely see me doing my whole entire face in powder. I personally don't need that. Now, for as long as I can remember learning about makeup, I know that they've always suggested makeup artists, professionals, using more liquid and cream based products on older skin. Now, I still have a hard time doing that because there is just some of my products that are favorites that are powders, but I have been trying to use a few more liquids if I can. So we'll first start off with some eye looks. Now they do recommend using more like cream, like shadow sticks and that sort of thing. So one of the higher end ones that I have, this is a little sample size that I have of Bobbi Brown Long Wear Cream Shadow Stick. And this is in golden pink. And it's really pretty. It is a really pretty shade. So something like this, I would generally, you could try it with a brush. I prefer to use my fingers. And I'll put a tiny bit on my fingertip. So it's like that. And then I will blend that onto my lid. Again, this isn't something that I would probably do every day. You know, they're not my go-to for eyeshadows. I much prefer powders. But this one is really creamy and blends into the skin really nicely. Doesn't look too overdone. And I do try and keep shimmers onto the lid if you are going to be using any sort of shimmer. I think it just ages. Again, my opinion, I think it just ages if you start going up into this area here. And then a more affordable option. Again, this is from my Just Care package. She sent me a Brilliant Eyes. This is L'Oreal. This is a liquid shadow. And it almost looks like a concealer. So I think this one, I may just put a dot and see how really pigmented. So just let me blend that in. Oh, that's really pretty. But yeah, see how they're pretty comparable. I'm like looking at them both right now. The shades are really comparable. Holy smokes. Wow. I would say even the L'Oreal is giving me much more coverage. The shade for this one is called Diamond Drop. Yeah, that blended in really nicely. So I'm just going to quickly go off camera. I'm going to finish up my eyes, and I will be back and we'll get into some of the final products here. So be back in a second. Okay, so I just quickly did the eyes, threw some mascara on. I put just a tiny little bit of bronzer on because you can't really find, because I'm trying to keep with the theme of creams and liquids and stuff, and I really can't find a liquid bronzer, really. I don't know if, hopefully, that there is one out there. So next we're going to go in for my next tip is staying with the creams and liquids is a blush. Now, I only have a drugstore version, which is the Maybelline Cheek Heat, which I showed you guys, I think it was a couple videos ago. But I am really liking this one. I've been using it a few times since I did my first impression. And all I'm going to do is put like a drop on my hand because it's very, very pigmented. And I'm just going to rub my fingertips together. And then all I do is just pat it in really lightly. I don't go overboard with my blushes because I'm getting a bunch of color from my bronzer. So I just like to apply just a tiny little bit, just to kind of give you like a flush. See how it just kind of gives you just a tiny little bit of color, nothing outrageous. Now these next two products I'm super excited to try out because I've heard so many good things about the one in particular, and that is talking about a liquid highlighter. So you know I'm passionate about my highlighters. Highlighters are like my favorite thing, and I usually gravitate more towards powders. But I've been hearing really good things about this one here, the L'Oreal True Match Lumi Glotion, and I have this in the shade 902 Light Glow. So I'm super curious to try this one out. And then the other one, again, is from my Just Care package, is the Kaleido Cosmetics Resort Glow. So this is a luminizing gel. And this is vegan and gluten-free. So this is kind of your higher end highlighter, if you wanted to go with that. And it comes, oh, it's really pretty packaging. I like that. So first, I'm going to, on the one side, I'll go in with the L'Oreal Glotion. And I think what I'll do is I'll just put it on my fingertip, because I don't know how much of this to use. Oh, that is really pretty. It's a nice subtle highlighter. Oh, that is really pretty. You know what? You could probably even mix this with foundation and kind of do something similar to what the NARS does and gives you like a bit of a glow boost. Oh, that's really pretty. I like that. Hopefully the camera can kind of pick up the nice little bit of sheen that it's giving. Okay, and then I'm just going to wipe that off, and I want to try the Kaleido Cosmetic Highlighter, and I'll do the same thing. I'll just put a tiny bit. Oh, this is, oh my goodness, I think this is going to be a little bit more iridescent. Oh yeah, it has like a pink hue to it. Oh, that's beautiful. Oh my goodness. So this is definitely more of like a spot highlight if you're looking for that. Whereas the L'Oreal is more of like an overall subtle highlight. Oh, that's very pretty. Oh my goodness. Here, I'm just going to use my sponge and just dab it in a tiny bit more. I don't want it being clustered in the one area. Oh, that's pretty. Oh my goodness. Okay, so I'm just going to take whatever I have left on my finger and I'll run it down my nose. And the nice thing about like a liquid is you can disperse it a little bit better. But I like that. That is beautiful. Very nice shimmer to it. And then when you combine the two, oh, that gives you just a really pretty highlight. Yeah, so that's more liquids, highlights, creams, blushes, eyeshadows. So again, just a tip that they always suggest to try and, as you age, trying to use more like liquid formulations. I know I'm still going to use some of my powders. I can't get away from it. I'm sorry. So our final thing, we're going to go into lips. You know that I love liquid lipsticks, any type of lipstick. I love lipsticks. But to try and, again, for people that don't maybe want to wear all that stuff on their lips, using more of like a flesh tone on your lips will actually kind of give them an appearance of an illusion of being fuller. Because as we age, I know my lips have definitely gotten a little bit smaller. They're not as full as they used to be. So one of the things that I do want to try out, and again, this is just a little sample size that I got. It's from Benefit Cosmetics, and this is actually, you could use this on your cheeks as well as your lips. So it's basically a stain. One of the first steps that I always recommend for your lips is exfoliating. I think that's really important, and I think it's one of those areas that gets missed when you exfoliate your skin. So I did that this morning in the shower. I already exfoliated, and it's just really important to get all that dead skin off. And then I'm just going to blend it in. See how it just kind of gives your lips a really nice natural flush. So next we're going to go in with lip liners. So I'll show you just a couple of different versions that I have. I have drugstore ones, and then I have one that's a little bit higher end. You know, my favorite go-to ones are the NYX lip liners. This one I have in Blued Suede Shoes, and then the other one is just nude. So two of my favorites. And then I also have the Age Perfect lip liner, and this is in the shade Bright Mocha. But what these three do is they fill in your lip really nicely and they glide on. They're not one of those lip liners that will be tugging at your skin, because you don't want that. We do enough tugging on our skin, so I just like it. I love these ones because they just glide on so nicely. And I always fill in my lips with my lip liners. And I just think that fills in any sort of texture that you have on your skin, and that's just going to help make your lips maybe look a little bit more youthful. And then if you're looking for more of a higher end lip liner, this one is my Clarins, and I have this in the shade Nude Fair. It's just that one there. Really, again, really pretty pencil, and I can say I've been using it a little bit, but again, very smooth, not going to tug on your lips at all. So I think the one that I'm going to actually do my lips with today is the NYX, the Nude Suede Shoes. And I just overline just a tiny bit while I'm doing that whole process. And then to top all that off, instead of using a lipstick, you can just use a moisturizing lip balm. So this is Burt's Bees. This is in the shade Strawberry. It's just going to help seal in the moisture and keep your lips looking more like soft and hydrated and plump. And that's just a little trick. You don't always have to wear lipstick every day. And you can see like my lips look really hydrated. So that, again, that's just going to kind of give you more of a youthful appearance. And you know that I always stick with nudes, and that's one of the reasons, just because it's trying to keep more of like that fleshy color, which again is going to make your lips just look a little bit plumper. And these lip liners in particular that I've shown you today, they don't settle into your fine lines. Like they're not going to creep into your fine lines. So that's why I always try and stick to more nude shades. I find for myself more bold shades, those shades will creep into my lines. So that's why I do try and avoid those whenever I can. And stick to my neutrals. So I hope that you found some of these tips or tricks or whatever you want to call them, secrets. I hope you found them helpful. This was fun, actually. I liked how it just turned out really natural looking. And again, it's not like we're trying to, take away our aging. Anti-aging right now, it's such a big thing. We're just trying to not age ourselves prematurely, I guess is what the whole goal is. And sometimes just certain ways that we wear our makeup, we can make ourselves look maybe older than we want to. And we know that beauty comes in all shapes and sizes and colors and ages. But if we can maybe look a little bit more radiant and glowy, I think that just exudes a feeling of youthfulness. So before you go, don't forget to subscribe and hit that little subscribe button and hit the notification bell right beside it that you'll be notified whenever I upload a new video. And also don't forget to share and comment below and give us a big thumbs up if you liked it. And let me know what other kind of videos you guys would like to see. I like doing videos like this where I feel like I'm maybe teaching a little bit and giving you some suggestions that maybe you hadn't seen before. So I hope that was helpful for you. I hope everybody's doing well out there. I know we're getting through this one day at a time, and we'll just keep putting one foot in front of the other. And until next time, everyone, I hope you have a great week and a great life, and I will see you all very soon in my next video. Bye.